The clever ghost Vetala began the first of his 25 tales for King Vikramaditya. But first, he laid down a condition. On the way, O king, you must not utter a single word. If you speak even once, I will fly back to the haunted tree where I hang. King Vikramaditya agreed. Yet, little did he know, Vetala had his own clever ways of making the king speak again and again. What really happens? How does Vetala trick the king every time? To find out, watch till the end. And with that, Vetala began his story. Long ago, in northern India, in the kingdom of Varanasi, there lived King Vajramakuta. He had a most intelligent minister, and both of them had sons of the same age. From childhood, the young prince and the minister's son were inseparable. The prince was strikingly handsome, but the minister's son surpassed him in wisdom and intellect. One day, the two friends went hunting in the forests beyond the city. So carried away were they by excitement that they crossed the border and entered the woods of a neighboring kingdom. There, by a pond, they saw a group of maidens bathing. Among them was one so beautiful that even celestial nymphs could not rival her. The prince was instantly captivated. The maiden too glanced at him with eyes full of love. When she finished bathing, she did something unusual. She took a lotus flower, pressed it to her ear, and bit it. Then she placed it behind her feet. Taking another blossom, she set it on her head, then placed it upon her chest. Soon after, she entered her palanquin and vanished. The prince was bewildered. He turned to his friend. "What does all this mean?" "I cannot live without her. You are my only hope." "Who is she?" The minister's son smiled. "My friend, do not despair. She has already declared her love for you. Every gesture had meaning. She picked a lotus flower, called Padma in Sanskrit, which reveals her name is Padmavati. She touched it to her ear, Karnam, meaning ear in Sanskrit, showing her land is Karnapura. She bit the flower. Danta means tooth, hinting her father is King Dantavatan. Finally, when she placed the lotus on her head and heart, it showed her unwavering love for you. Overjoyed, the prince embraced his friend. "Then we must go to Karnapura and meet her," the minister's son advised. "First, let us return to the palace and seek leave for a short journey." With the king's permission, they set out the very next day for Karnapura. There, outside a humble hut, they found an old woman spinning cotton. The minister's son requested lodging for the night. Impressed by their courtesy, the old woman welcomed them. She explained that her work was to deliver flowers daily to the queen of the palace. Through secret inquiry, the two youths soon confirmed that the maiden from the pond was indeed the princess herself. Seeing the prince lovesick, the minister's son bribed the old woman generously and persuaded her to deliver a love letter to the princess. The old woman carried the letter into the palace and delivered it in secret. But the moment the princess read it, her face turned red with anger. She dipped her 10 fingers in sandal paste, struck the old woman hard on the chest, and drove her out. Dejected, the old woman returned and told everything. The prince sank into despair, but the minister's son only laughed. "Why do you laugh?" the prince asked bitterly. "Do not grieve, my friend. Those 10 sandal-marked fingers mean she has fixed a secret meeting after 10 nights. Indeed, after 10 nights the old woman was sent again. This time, the princess, still angry, dipped 3 fingers in vermilion, struck the old woman on the chest, and had her thrown out through a secret door. Once more the prince despaired, but his clever friend smiled. This means she is now impure, and for 3 days she must remain apart. After 3 days, before midnight, you must come by that secret door. She will receive you then. And so it happened. After 3 nights, the prince slipped through the hidden passage. The princess awaited him, led him to her chamber, and for a month they lived in secret bliss. One night, however, the prince grew sorrowful, thinking of his friend. He said to the princess, "I cannot forget the one who brought me here." The princess grew angry. "To you only your friend and kingdom matter. Am I but a toy?" Though the prince consoled her, suspicion took root in her mind. She thought, if he goes, he may never return. The minister's son is too clever. He will take him back to Varanasi. So she said sweetly, "Before you go, take this pudding I made with my own hands and offer it to your dear friend." The prince was delighted and departed with the dish. When he met the minister's son, he said, "This is from Padmavati. Let us share it." But the minister's son stopped him at once. "No, do not eat this. It is poisoned. A beloved woman never truly loves her lover's friend. I was a fool to let my name be known to her." The prince refused to believe him. So the minister's son fed a little of the pudding to a dog nearby. Within moments, the animal writhed in pain and died. Shaken, the prince cried, "She is a demoness! I want nothing more to do with her." But the minister's son reasoned calmly. "No, her love for you is true. Only because you mentioned me did she fear I would take you away. That is why she acted so. But listen, we can still turn this to your advantage. You must return to her as though nothing happened. When she sleeps, take the jewel necklace from her neck and scratch 3 marks on her left thigh. Bring the necklace here, and I will handle the rest." The prince obeyed. At night, he returned to her chamber, spent time with her, and, when she fell asleep, he removed the necklace and left 3 nail marks on her thigh. Then he slipped away. The next day, disguised as a holy ascetic and disciple, the 2 youths went to a cremation ground. The minister's son instructed, "Take this necklace to the goldsmith near the palace. Demand a price so high no one will buy it. If you are caught, they will bring you to me." The prince, disguised as the disciple, showed the necklace to the goldsmith. Recognizing it as the princess's, the goldsmith alerted the king's guards. They seized the prince and brought him before King Dantavadan. Meanwhile, soldiers also fetched the disguised yogi, the minister's son, from the cremation ground. The king demanded, "Tell me about this necklace." The yogi bowed and said gravely, "Mahadeva, last night in the cremation ground, I saw a woman feeding upon a corpse. I struck her left thigh with my trident and seized this necklace from her neck. Since then, she has not returned." The king rushed to his daughter's chambers. Her neck was bare, and on her left thigh were 3 wounds. Furious, he dragged her into court. "My daughter is a corpse-eater. What punishment does Dharma prescribe for such sin?" The yogi pretended to meditate and then declared, "O king, the scriptures say such a sinner must be cast out from the kingdom." Without hesitation, the enraged king ordered his daughter placed in a palanquin and abandoned in the forest. Humiliated before her mother and the royal court, the princess wept as she was exiled. But the prince and the minister's son rescued her and carried her safely back to Varanasi. Having narrated thus far, Vetala turned to King Vikramaditya. "Tell me, O king, among these 4, the prince, the minister's son, the princess, or her father, the king, who is the greatest sinner? Beware. If you know the answer and stay silent, your head will shatter into 1,000 pieces. But if you speak, you know the bargain. I shall fly back to my tree." Now the king was trapped. To keep silent meant death. To answer meant losing Vetala once again. But in the face of the clever ghost, King Vikramaditya had no choice but to speak. And here, dear listeners, think for a moment yourselves. Who do you believe is the greatest sinner? Was it the princess, who kept the prince hidden in her chambers for a month? Was it the prince, who abandoned kingdom, family, and friend for secret love? Was it the minister's son, who plotted and schemed with such cunning? Or was it the king, who exiled his own daughter without seeking the full truth? Pause the story, think it over, and share your answer. The king explained, "The minister's son only did his duty. The prince and princess followed their hearts. There is no sin in that. But the king, without proper judgment, cast away his own daughter and condemned her to suffering. Therefore, the true sin lies upon him." Hearing the just answer, Vetala gave a shrill laugh, leapt from the king's shoulders, and once again flew to hang upside down upon the ancient tree. The tales are not yet over. More await you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next adventure.